The Palm Beach Civic Association expands its communication outreach with a state-of-the-art television studio. We call it Studio 33480, the zip code for the beautiful island of Palm Beach. Sponsored by Finley Galleries, our goal is to bring you in-depth interviews with the most colorful and knowledgeable personalities on the island. And now, our host.
Hello and welcome to Studio 33480. I'm William Kelly and I am your host this morning, and I'm very pleased to introduce Dr. Mary Ellen Scully, who is veterinarian and owner of Island Animal Hospital, which is the only veterinary clinic on the island of Palm Beach.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome. We're very pleased to have you. So, yes, we're here today to talk about how best to protect our pets, their safety and welfare as we move into the summer months. And we have to think about things like an increased heat index, fireworks trauma with July 4th just right around the corner, and of course, another hurricane season. First, I'd like to take a step back and just ask you if you could tell us a little bit about the history of Island Animal Hospital on the island, how far it goes back. As far as I know, it's been the only veterinary clinic in Palm Beach, I think, for at least 20 years. Is that right?
Yeah, there was another veterinarian originally, and then when we started out, we were on Royal Palm in a smaller place, and then we kind of outgrew that and ended up where we are on Sunset.
I see.
So,
and
we keep growing into the space that we have, yeah.
That you have.
Yeah.
And your own background, you got your license from the University of Florida, I think?
University of Florida, went to school there. I went up and did an internship at the University of Pennsylvania. Big snowstorm that year. I was like, I'm going back to Florida. So I've been here ever since.
You joined Island Animal Hospital.
A few years into being back down here, I met Dr. Turkel and Dr. Oxtein and started working there, yeah.
And then in 2022, Dr. Oxtein retired and you bought the business?
Correct. So I bought the business from him. The building was purchased by the hotel next door.
I see.
And so they have the building. And so I knew buying the building, the practice that I would indeed have to move to another building. So that's where I'm in the looking phase of that. So, yeah, something will happen and we will transform into another space.
How have you enjoyed working as a vet here in the town of Palm Beach? A somewhat unusual clientele, I guess you could say. Do you think it's much different than anywhere else where you might have worked?
Oh, yes.
Yes?
It is. I mean, it is in some ways because it is a small town.
Uh-huh.
And so, like other practices, I can have everybody in the lobby knows each other at the same time. It's like, there's my aunt, there's my friend. And so it is a small town, even though it's gotten bigger. It's still, people know each other, and you have on your third generation of dogs with people, so I ask people about their kids, which are now no longer kids, they're adults in college, and you have kind of a long rapport with a lot of people.
It's another warm summer here in South Florida. We've seen the heat index go up in the last, I think, couple of weeks, and I'm very curious what you could have to say to people about protecting their dogs and cats.
I think some of it is your dog doesn't have to go everywhere with you.
Uh-huh.
They have people walking their dogs around outside, especially the brachiocephalic dogs, which are the dogs with the smushy faces. I see a lot of Frenchies. They just can't really regulate their heat as well. So if you're walking at the gray market, it's not the same as your Frenchie. The dark-colored Frenchie who's down, its airways are compromised. Those dogs can overheat very quickly. It doesn't take a lot for those breeds of dogs. And on a hot sidewalk, out all day, probably not getting enough water. I think just people have to be aware that, of what their dog's needs are when they're out and about doing something that is going to tax the dog more than it is them.
I see. Wiser to walk them earlier in the morning, a little later in the evening
Yes.
when the sun's not.
And always, I tell people, if you have any concerns at all, you just wet the dog down. If it's hot out, just hose the dog down. If you're starting and it's hot, hose the dog down. Because their only way to cool themselves is by panting or sweating off their foot pads. So those are their only two cooling mechanisms. So they can overheat really quickly because of that, and that's why just a hose can be life-saving. A wet towel, water bottle over their back, just to cool them down, can make the hugest difference.
They require a lot more water to drink this time of year than...
I think so, yeah, because like I said, they're panting and exchanging the heat out of their airways, so I think they do get a little dry from that.
How about with cats? Anything different?
Cats are just cool. They just are smarter than dogs in some ways. They're just going to find a cool place, laid out in the shade. They're not going to be chasing the ball in the heat. They just make better decisions than dogs when it comes to that.
I get the sense, I notice a lot of cats on the island. A friend of mine has some cats that they're pretty much outdoors all the time. If the animal is already used to being outdoors, even when it gets really hot, I mean, is it wise to try to bring them inside, dog or cat? Or,
Some cats are much more, the genetics of the cat or the footprint of the cat is kind of the same. So they're not like dogs. So you have a husky that's here. Well, it's not genetically supposed to be here. So that dog is not going to acclimate. The smushy-faced dogs, they're not going to heat acclimate. Probably if you have a hound dog, it might be better outside. But still, I think that I kind of, what would you want? Would you want to be sitting out in the hot yard? You probably can do it, but it's not going to be the most comfortable for you.
right.
So, yeah, I feel like dogs should be inside especially during the heat of the day, because it doesn't take a lot for them to overheat.
Right. And I think from what I've seen, they're able to appreciate air conditioning as well as any human being.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
When it's scorching like that.
Yeah.
And as we get closer to July 4th and the fireworks pick up, I know a lot of animals experience a great deal of inner trauma because of fear of fireworks, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Fireworks are for us. Like, people, don't take your dogs to fireworks. The fireworks are for us. They don't really appreciate them. And so really, I think it's important, if you have a dog who's super afraid, I think having good identification on their collar. So God forbid they get away from you.
Yes.
They have appropriate ID so you can find them. A microchip is only as good as the registry of the microchip. So if your dog is microchipped, you really should know, is this microchip, is my phone number current? What's my microchip number? Who is it registered to? Because it's only as good as that information that is registered with the microchip. So I think those things are important. So God forbid you lose your pet. Do you have a good way to get it back to you? I think having them at home, it's like blackout shades, pull the blinds, make it a little darker, put some music on, just to try to do what you can to kind of dampen the noise.
Is it ever advisable to medicate them? And if so, would that be something you would prescribe, or can they take Benadryl? Or,
yeah, I think some people, Benadryl just really doesn't usually provide you the level of sleepiness that you want. And when you medicate them, it's a milligram per pound. So people panic. So your big Labrador, if you want to try to give anything, even for itch, it's 3 25 milligram tablets. Your little Bichon is 1 full tablet. So I don't think it gives you the sedation that you want, but you really need to get right into the right level to even try to provide some, sedation to them. I do think some dogs do okay with thundershirts, just kind of take some of their frantic behavior by kind of making them feel a little encased and safe, because a lot of dogs like to, squish behind the toilet and in the tub, in the closet. They like that kind of covered, safe feeling. And I'm not opposed to dogs who are super anxious, because they can traumatize themselves. And I think the more anxious they get, then they get totally wound up. There are some natural over-the-counter products like Composure and things like that. CBD is out there, but it's kind of an unregulated thing, because you don't really know how much CBD is, and there's 50 million companies that have it, so it's hard to know. It's probably not going to hurt them. Some dogs may have some benefit from it. Some dogs may not. But it's certainly worth trying. I'm not opposed to giving dogs sedation.
I see.
Just if they're super, super anxious, they're stressed out, they're digging at the carpets, they're freaking out. I've had dogs jump through windows because they're so panicked from storms. So
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. So I'm not opposed to giving them sedation. I do think it's good, if you think you need to sedate your dog, is to, one, you have to give it appropriately. Like some dogs, for July 4th, I'll start the night before, because someone's going to set off fireworks. Right. Give it the next morning so that when it comes, it's in their system. So it needs to be there a couple of hours before. I always like people to test drive it some night they're home, so you know how the dog is reacting, because every once in a while you will get a dog who has an adverse reaction to the drug. So by test driving it before, you can have a feel of, that's enough drug, is it not the right drug? And so I'm not opposed to it, because I feel like these dogs are in a full panic mode, some of them, and so I would, I don't mind giving them something to provide them some level of comfort and relief from that.
Hurricane preparedness. How does one prepare a pet, a dog or a cat, to ride out a Category 2 or 3 storm, hurricane, if in fact that's what they've decided to do, stay on the island? And as I understand it, a lot of people who do decide to stay rather than evacuating, it's because of concerns about abandoning their pets, right?
I mean, I think today everything has changed. Like, even the shelters allow your pets in. hotels allow your pets. So I think staying on the island, I can't stay on the island. I get notification to evacuate. So, we have an office cat. He comes, we leave because I don't think it's safe to stay on the island. I think it's better to take your pet. Once again, make sure they have good ID. If they're afraid of thunderstorms, all of that stuff, make sure they have the medication needed. If your dog's on medication, heart medication, any type of medication, make sure you stock up, get a good couple weeks supply. If you're going to have to leave town and board this dog, make sure it has all its vaccines and you get a vaccine history, a special kennel cough vaccine, because I have some people who don't really board their dogs in a normal circumstance, but now they have to. Mm-hmm. And so if you think at any point that you're going to need to board your dog, make sure it's vaccinated. Make sure you have the vaccine history. You have their food. You have all of those things. Because most of you can, when you go to leave, there are, pet-friendly hotels and there are boarding places if, God forbid, you can't stay. There are, I think, like VCA and VIP. There are places here that are hurricane rated if you just can't take your pet with you.
Well, I thank you very much.
You're welcome.
For stopping by, and this has been very informative, and just wish you the best of luck going forward. And we hope to see Allen Animal Hospital here on the island for many, many years and decades to come.
That's what we're working for. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.
And thank you very much to the viewers for joining us this morning for Studio 33480, and we do look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye.
I'm Michael Pusillo, Chairman of the Palm Beach Civic Association. We hope you are enjoying these Studio 33480 interviews. If you are a member of the Palm Beach Civic Association, we thank you for your support. If you're not a member, consider becoming a member so you can support this programming as well as enjoy other benefits of membership in the Palm Beach Civic Association. Go to our website, palmbeachcivic.org, for more information on our tax-deductible membership levels.
Studio 33480 is brought to you by the Palm Beach Civic Association, our sponsor, Finley Galleries, and our viewers. We welcome your thoughts on how our programming can best serve our members and residents.